This is every single fight to make after UFC Fight Night Vegas 63, Kattar versus Allen. I've got all of the key fighters from that card on the screen right now, and you may notice there is an empty box next to all of them, and that's where their next opponent's going to go, who I have hidden around the perimeter of the screen. I'll slowly reveal those opponents one by one as the video goes on and place them where they belong on the screen. Let's start straight away with the main event. Arnold Allen defeats Calvin Kattar, I guess. It's sort of a little bit more acceptable to say that he defeated him because he was winning quite convincingly until the fight, of course, came to a very, very sad ending where Calvin Kattar blew out his knee. He's probably going to need surgery and be out for at least 6 months. So, I guess that means we got to match these guys up with someone new. Arnold Allen hurt his hand. I'm sure that'll be recovered for the new year. And I'm sure he's probably going to be looking to get onto that London card as well. Here's my take. Volk's fighting Makhachev in February. Volk says he wants to fight once every 3 months. Okay? So I need a contender at featherweight to be ready before Volk has even had his fight with Makhachev. I don't want Volk to fight Makhachev. Then we have to wait a month for Arnold Allen to fight someone. And then maybe one of the winner gets injured, and then we have to wait another 4 or 5 months until Volk can even fight him. I'm not looking to do that at this point in Volk's career. So, Volk goes up to fight Makhachev. He loses. We do Arnold Allen versus Max Holloway in London in March. We do Josh Emmett versus Yair Rodriguez on like a fight night main event in February. Maybe even in that Australia card as well. So we have like another relevant fight on the card for Volkanovski's name. So maybe they could even be on that card in Australia. Maybe they could be on a January card, an early February fight night main event. We'll see what they want to do. But I'd like to have them ready for Volk to come back down and fight them. Because Allen's going to break his hand if he beats Holloway. And if Holloway wins, there's no title contender. So let's do this in March. That way we've got a title contender in the winner of Emmett versus Yair for Volk if he comes back down. And there's also this backup potential if Allen does get past Max Holloway. And I think someone's got to be given to Max Holloway. And I was thinking of maybe doing Holloway versus the Korean Zombie. But then I was like, that's not a nice thing to do to the Korean Zombie in Korea in front of his home crowd. So you know what? Let's do Holloway versus another up-and-comer in Arnold Allen. And do it in the UK because it's looking like that March pay-per-view card in London is going to be the best card of all time, as far as I'm concerned. So let's make it a best card of all time by putting this matchup on there. And in a 3-rounder, Allen versus Holloway could be an interesting matchup. Allen's boxing is crisp. We move on to another matchup which could possibly be... we move on to another matchup for Calvin Kattar we're looking for here. Calvin Kattar has been injured. It's a no-brainer when you think about it, really. Movsar Evloev is the guy I'm going to match him up with. If you don't know, Movsar Evloev recently, a couple of weeks ago, pulled out of a fight with Bryce Mitchell because he blew his ligament in his leg. He's just had surgery a couple of days ago. He's going to be 3 to 4 months before he can even get back to training properly and start a fight camp. So let's do Calvin Kattar versus him when they're both healed up. Yeah, I mean, like I was looking at all of the other names and I was like, maybe the loser of this, but we don't know who's going to be the loser. Maybe the loser of that, but we don't know who's going to win that one. So just to give it an obvious person that it could definitely be Calvin Kattar, Movsar Evloev. Evloev just had surgery for his leg. I'm assuming Kattar's going to have surgery within the next few weeks. They're both going to be looking to come back towards the middle of next year anyway. Let's do Calvin Kattar versus Movsar Evloev. Plus, Kattar's takedown defense is legendary. I'd love to see him fight a guy like Evloev. I think it would be a good matchup to figure out just how good the grappling of Evloev really is. We move on to the co-main event, which is Max Griffin, the winner of the co-main event. He defeated Tim Means in a very close fight, but he got it done. He hurt his hand a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be out for too long, so I think he should take on Gunnar Nelson on the UK card. On the prelims, Gunnar Nelson, Iceland. You know, he trains in Ireland, so he's going to want to probably fight in that UK card. So let's do that. On the London card in March, Max Griffin, Gunnar Nelson on the prelims in the welterweight division. Makes all the sense in the world. I think Gunnar got a little bit injured in his last fight or in training, so he's had to take a little bit of time off. But it just makes sense to have Gunnar Nelson on that London card in Wembley, so let's put him on the prelims. Max Griffin, Gunnar Nelson. It's a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying? They're both not really going to challenge for a belt anytime in their career, so they're both around the same ranking outside the rankings of the welterweight division. Put them against each other and see who's the best at welterweight. Moving on. Khalil Rountree lost to Dustin Jacoby, but they gave him the win. So I feel like he should be punished a little bit. Not in terms of like punished. He should be not rewarded, is what I'm going to change that word to. Not punished, just not rewarded. He shouldn't be like, time for a top 10 for Khalil. No, I don't think that's how it should be going. There's an up-and-coming light heavyweight that's been back after injuries, and he's on a roll right now on a 2-fight win streak, and he has a win over Khalil Rountree. And his name is Tyson Pedro. And he's not ranked, and I know the UFC want this guy to rise up the division because he's quite marketable. He's beaten Khalil Rountree before, so you can sort of use that against Khalil and say, listen, you lost to this guy. You're going to have to take on this guy to keep your ranking spot, and then we can start talking about top 10 opponents. And for Tyson Pedro, it's like, listen, I'm unranked. This guy's ranked Khalil Rountree. I've beaten him. Surely I deserve my chance against him to get back into the rankings. So let's do Khalil Rountree, Tyson Pedro. Their first fight happened like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So let's do them against each other again. Rematch in Australia. Tyson Pedro, of course. Do it in Australia in February on the pay-per-view card. Makes sense to me. I'm just a genius at this, I know. We move on. Tresean Gore got a win. This was a tough one for me to find a matchup for him because you have to find someone bad. I'm not going to be like, oh, you got a win over Josh Fremd. Time for Abbas Magomedov. I'm not going to do that to Tresean Gore. So I think he's like 5-2. Like, let's give him someone a little bit more on his level, even if they are coming off a loss. AJ Dobson just lost recently as well. So he's going to be looking to get back in there, probably around a similar schedule to Tresean Gore. They're probably both going to be looking to come back in March next year, maybe even April, and take 6 months off to develop their game. But they're both sort of bottom of the barrel guys in the middleweight division. Both fought recently as well, so they're going to be on a similar schedule. And both don't have the best of records. I know Dobson's coming off some losses, but I'm not going to give Tresean Gore Bo Nickel. You know what I mean? Oh, here's Abbas Magomedov. Here's Ikram Aliskerov. Like, I'm not going to do that to him. So let's do Tresean Gore, AJ Dobson. See who wins that one. I think it'll be an interesting matchup. We move on. Roman Dolidze in the middleweight division got a big win. Huge win over Phil Hawes, an amazing win that propels him up the rankings. I don't think he's ready for a ranked opponent yet, but I think he's one fight away. And I think the opponent that's getting to get him towards the rankings is an opponent by the name of Calbaralho. This can take place in January on the prelims of the Brazilian pay-per-view card, in a good position on the prelims of that pay-per-view as well. And I think because of the jiu-jitsu off of his back of Roman Dolidze and the aggression off of his back of Roman Dolidze and just his aggression in the fight in general, even on the feet, I think this will be a more exciting fight than some of Calbaralho's previous ones because of the resistance that Roman Dolidze can give. So I think this is a good matchup for both of them. To turn right back around, Dolidze took no damage against Phil Hawes outside of a couple of punches. Calbaralho didn't really take too much damage against Muradov either outside of a couple of shots here and there. Let's do it on Brazil, in Brazil. Calbaralho, Roman Dolidze, prelims of the pay-per-view. The winner of it might get ranked number 15, or they're definitely going to get a ranked opponent next for their next opponent. But I think that's what's going to happen. I can't give either of them a ranked opponent right now. There's so many guys deserving, and there's so many people that have already got matchups. You know, Gregory Rodriguez is fighting Tavares. Tavares is usually the guy you offer up to someone who wants to get to the rankings. So let's do Roman Dolidze, Calbaralho. I think it will result in an entertaining fight because of the way their styles clash. Do it on the pay-per-view prelims of the Brazil card in January. We ain't got long of Roman Dolidze's prime, so let's get it going. Moving on. Park Yun-Yong Park, got a big win. A really big win, so good for him. He got a big win over Joseph Holmes. And he's doing quite good right now. I think he's on a 2-fight win streak, maybe. Not sure. Yeah, he's on a 2-fight win streak. He beat Anders. He beat Joseph Holmes. And he deserves a decent opponent. And he also deserves an opponent that's going to be ready to go in time for the Korea card in February. In Korea. It's at the start of February. I think that's where Park Yun-Yong, no-brainer. You got to put him on that card. We don't have many Korean fighters, so you got to put Park Yun-Yong on the card. Let's put him on there against Arman Petrosian. Got a win recently against AJ Dobson on a similar schedule. And I think it makes sense. I do think it makes sense. They're around the same area in the rankings. The winner of this one, you know, we can learn more about the takedown defensive arm Petrosian. We can learn a little bit more about the stand-up of Park Yun-yong. And the winner of that can start looking to fighters that are going to get them towards the position to call out ranked opponents. So, yeah, let's do that. Park Yun-yong, Armin Petrosian on the prelims or main card opener of the South Korea card in February. We need some Koreans on the card, and we need opponents for the Koreans on the card. So that's what I've done there with that matchup. It makes all the sense. Moving on, Marcos Rodrigo de Lima. He wants to be on the Brazil card. So I'm thinking, what heavyweights are going to want to be on the Brazil card? The way my mind's working. We're not going to give Marcos a top-ranked guy, and we're not trying to propel this guy's career. He's just on a one-fight win streak, I believe. He just lost to Blagoy Ivanov, who is ranked at the moment. So, for Marcos Rodrigo de Lima, he's going to want to be on the Brazil card. I know another Brazilian heavyweight who's got a fight coming up that if he wins that fight in impressive fashion, like he's won all of his other fights, is going to want to be on the Brazil card against another heavyweight. And that man is Jailton Almeida. He's fighting very soon. He's got a matchup coming up soon. And if he wins in impressive fashion, which is sort of likely, he's going to want to turn around and fight on that Brazil card. So let's do Marcos Rodrigo de Lima versus him on the Brazil card, on the prelims, and use it as like a Brazilian prospect showcase. Jailton Almeida on the card coming up. Cal Baralho on the card coming up against Roman Dolidze. I think that's what you should do and get some good talent on the prelims of that Brazil pay-per-view card in January. So make it happen. Moving on. Plus, he took no damage, so he can turn around quickly. Rodrigo de Lima. Moving on. Cody Durden got a good win. People know his name, so I think he should be used as a name that people know to try and get more respect for a prospect in the flyweight division. And a card that's coming up soon is the South Korea card. And just over a boat ride away, a couple of hours of a boat ride away from the shores of South Korea is a place called Japan. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. And Tatsuro Taira is from there. So I feel like they should do Cody Durden, Tatsuro Taira on that South Korea card in February. Makes sense. Taira got a big win recently. Durden's a great grappler, so it'd be good to test out the grappling of Tatsuro Taira. And Durden's also a known name that people know is like pretty good. So I think they should do this matchup. Winner of it gets a ranked opponent in the flyweight division and can start moving on with their own career, but put them against each other for now in Korea. So some Japanese fans can come over and support Taira. Makes sense. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.